Hello, everybody, on this wonderful Wedding Wednesday, or just plain Wedding Wednesday for anybody who just wants it to be Hump Day. Hey, I'm Amy Monner, coming back to you to talk about weddings and to talk about events and all that fun stuff that's happening in our world right now. We have started something a little bit new, and I've been taking questions in from people that have been submitting on social media. Thank you for that, because I truly appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about the top 5 things to do before you go to your florist appointment as a bride. Why is this important? Quite frankly, it's all going to deal with everybody just being efficient and being efficient with your time along with the vendor's time. We all appreciate that everybody wants to, go to an event and everybody wants it to be amazing, but we also don't want to have to take off too much work to go sit at a florist if we're not going to be prepared. So that's what we're going to talk about. I have the distinct pleasure of reaching out to Abby Daigle with Stems Floral. Kind of funny story. I was putting in on our master calendar for our family like an appointment for my daughter Abby for her intern at her dance studio internship, and I actually sent that to Abby Daigle, and that's how we started conversing back and forth. And then I was like, hey, since we're chatting, would you answer these 5 things for me? So, top 5 things to do before you see a florist as a bride. I'll give you what Abby did like 95% of this, and then I'll add in my little 2 cents with it. First of all, we want to do is to fill out a questionnaire. Most florists should have that questionnaire. Some don't, but they're going to ask you questions like, name, address, phone number, contact information, email, location, expected number of guests, what your color palette is, what does your gown look like. So many times I feel like people don't bring in what their dresses look, but pictures of their dresses or their bridesmaid dresses. And that's kind of a pickle, because you're asking them to take a vision for you, make it into reality, and you might have country western looking dresses, and then you want to have something that probably is a little more metro New York style for your flowers. And if the designer gets on that pathway, and it's not correct, then you're going to think she doesn't know what she's doing. So we don't want that to happen at all. But their questionnaire is a getting to know you, right? They just want to know what's going to be happening and what's in your brain. That's really the most important thing. The second thing is absolutely give the designer, I love this when she typed it, was what the price range is that you have. Trust me, if you say to anybody in the wedding industry that there is not a budget, you will have no earthly idea where our brains will go. I know that on behalf of clients, they often say, well, I don't want to be locked into only $5,000 or $2,500 or $10 million for flowers. I don't want to give them that number. Well, you don't have to give them that number, but you should give them an area that you're looking at, because if you say there is no budget, they're going to show you all the bells and whistles, the monkeys flying, cats jumping out of the air with holding bouquets and giving them to each individual person. I mean, people are pretty dang creative in the wedding industry. So if you say perhaps you don't want to give them your entire number, but say perhaps what can you do for, X number, knowing that maybe you want to spend $7,000, well, ask them what they can do for $5,000. But know that, florists, in my experience, the excellent ones are going to spend your money wisely. They're not going to just say, oh, she said she's spending $5,000, so therefore I'm spending $5,000 of her money. It is not, as Abby quoted in her thing that she sent over to me, it's like shooting in the dark. I mean, I equate it with, if I'm going to go buy a car, if I go onto that dealership and say, show me what you got, he's going to bring out the most expensive car out there, and guess what? I'm going to like it. I know I will like it. I'm going to like all the soft love leather seats. I mean, no, we don't want to do that. Like, don't put yourself through that terrible position. Don't put yourself into that terrible position, because then what has to happen, i.e. we get the event planner involved, and then the client says to me, can you cut this down? I like the vision, but I want you to take $1,000 off of it, or I want you to take $4,000 off of it. And I'm like, great. So right there, it starts almost in a negative spot as opposed to being in a positive spot. So instead, make sure you give them a budget. It's incredibly important. Side note from the planner talking about budget, discuss it with your planner, because so often I find that people in their head come up with what the amount of money is that they want to spend, but they don't know. So they say, I have a wedding for 250 people and it's going to be at the Four Seasons Hotel. And we're like, okay. And then they say, I only want to spend $1,000 on flowers. And I'm like, whoa, girl, like that can't happen. I mean, that's at best, it's going to be 25 tables, possibly 32. And you are not even going to be able to buy candles for that amount of money. So be open with your budget. It's completely important. Okay, point number 3, collect images that inspire you. But realize they don't have to be images from other weddings. Abby, that is so true. So true, so true. For me, when clients walk into a florist, I want them to have an idea of what they're looking at. I truly do. But honestly, we never leave there with that vision, because a truly amazing florist will take your vision and then they will manipulate it to where you still have what your vision is. However, they're going to give you what you want, because even though every wedding is a wedding, it's all unique, and your particular tastes are going to need to come out from that. I have always said, as an event planner, if my life was just planning an event and not talking to anybody, we could do 25 weddings a month in a heartbeat and do it well, if they just gave us money and we executed and didn't talk to anybody. However, it's important to us that it's unique and it depicts the bride and groom. And so with that, bring your inspirations in, but yet don't, God, I'm stumbling here. Don't stuff the creativity of your important day into a tiny little box. Let the creative people, the florist and the designers, come out and show you something so much more amazing, because when they're able to use their talent that way, you will get something 10 times better than you ever imagined. I promise you. Okay, 4th point from Abby at Stems Floral is start an inspiration board or a Pinterest board. Okay, Pinterest is somewhat the bane of my existence. Reason being is people are like, I want. They pin. They send it over to me and I'm like, okay, this is not, there's so many drastic different options here, but we don't have a cohesive flow. So then we take Pinterest. So Pinterest doesn't mean you're going to get everything on that board, but what it does is it actually pulls in ideas where the florist can then look at it and go, okay, this makes sense, right? Like, okay, now let me take out what's most important to you. Like, I truly, truly love to have this particular arch. We're like, perfect. Or I truly want to have draping. So that's one reason why I think that Pinterest is a very good thing. The good explanation that Abby at STEM Floral said was, it's a journey, right? It's a journey to take all these little bits and pieces and put them together into the puzzle that you would like to have reflected on your wedding day. And then point number 5, I laugh about this because when she sent it over, I even laughed harder, is do not research budget floral designs on the internet. It is not worth it. The other thing is when you say to people who have been married in the past, what did you spend? It is amazing. I've done weddings where I've had friends of them come in and say, you did, so-and-so's wedding and she paid, $100,000 for flowers. I'm like, oh yeah, no, she did not. Now I don't say it that way, but I'm like, well, possibly not, but let's think about this a little bit differently. Everybody inflates what they pay for a wedding. It is, I don't know why, but I actually take that as a compliment because they think they spent more than what they really did. But unfortunately on the internet, similar to when you look up for medical information on the internet, it's misleading and it often can take you down the wrong path. And that is not going to be your path to success on your wedding day. You can ask a florist prior to going in there what your minimum expenditure is. If a florist says, I don't leave my office or my studio for under $10,000, and you know right off the bat you are spending $1,000, then that's probably not a good fit for you. However, most florists don't do that. Most florists are like, let me talk to you. Let's see what we can do. If you are open with them, they will be open with you. And again, they're not out there to still take your money, unlike what most people say the wedding industry tends to do. I promise you that. We are all in this together to make sure that your event is exactly what you would like it to be. So those were my 5 tips. I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes version. First one, fill out the questionnaire. 2, give your designer a budget / range you want to stay in. 3, collect images that inspire you. The 4th one being start an inspiration board or Pinterest. Share that with the florist before you head there. And then the 5th and final one is do not research budgets on the internet. Your wedding is unique, and that's the most important thing. Again, I want to thank Abby with Stems Floral. You can find her at stemfloral.com. Go view her website and see. She's a cool person, super cool person. Yeah, that's my Abby Daigle. That's Abby Daigle. So that's what you learned today. As always, we're going to talk about tell me something good. What's good things have been happening? 4th of July, that was good for me. A little bit unorthodox. Typically we have some level of a party, and we did not have one this year. But we had some family over. It was great. Lovely. 4th of July. Check that off. We're now moving into the July to sweat in the state of Texas. Okay, I have to say, doing these videos, other than I was told to step out of my box, I truly have enjoyed connecting up with people that I possibly haven't chatted with in a very long time because we're all trying to keep our businesses alive. Yeah, I said it. I'm open book like that. But that's been great. So all of you people that have been responding and interacting with me, I love it. I truly do. We're in a people business, and that's how life is. Baseball. July 23rd, baseball's coming back. So my shirt last week that said wake me when baseball season starts, I'm pretty excited about that. That makes life a lot easier in my house because watching the Korean baseball organization at 3 a.m. when my husband turns it on is a smidge challenging sometimes, but MLB's coming back on the 23rd. And do know that I sat in on this webinar today that dealt with not only Major League Baseball coming back, but the Democratic National Convention and the Republican National Convention. No, this is not a political statement, but I am following that to see how they're going to be incorporating the COVID guidelines into their live events. And they are doing them live. So that's kind of crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. I know. Such a terrible time. But anyway, okay, questions. If you have any questions that you want to have answered, please send them over to contact@myplatinumevent.com. If you want to get in touch with the amazing Abby Daigle at Stems Floral, you can reach her at abby@stemfloral.com. And that's what we got going on today. Happy Hump Day to all of you. Remember to be kind, be awesome, do the right thing, and we will chat with you later. Have a great day. Bye.